The Sigma male's smile is a mystery, not because it's fake, but because it hides a war no one sees. Behind that calm grin lives the exhaustion of always being strong, the loneliness of being self-reliant, and the silent ache of knowing most people only love his composure, not his chaos. He doesn't show pain the way others do. He refines it, buries it, and turns it into discipline. That's why his smile confuses people. It's not happiness, it's endurance. He's the man who listens while others speak, the one who carries burdens without complaint. But every now and then, that small curve of his lips conceals 1,000 unspoken thoughts about the battles he fought alone, the loyalty that was never returned, and the emotions he had to suppress just to keep moving forward. What looks like confidence is often quiet survival. You'll never see him break in public, not because he's heartless, but because he believes pain is private currency. He uses it to build, not to beg. And that's what makes his smile both tragic and powerful. It's a shield carved from years of self-control. If you've ever smiled through the weight of disappointment, or turned your pain into purpose, you already understand him more than most ever will. If this video hits something deep inside you, subscribe to UltraWise and join a community of thinkers who see through the noise and live with quiet power. And in the comments, tell me, do you hide your pain behind calm, or do you let it show? Your answer might help someone else realize they're not fighting alone. The smile as emotional armor. The Sigma male smile is never just an expression. It's a shield forged from years of quiet endurance. It's the kind of smile that disarms people, not because it radiates joy, but because it hides something deeper, something sacred. When he smiles, he's not saying, "I'm fine." He's saying, "I've learned to handle the storm without showing the rain." Every curve of his lips is calculated restraint, a way of maintaining control in a world that mistakes vulnerability for weakness. To the untrained eye, it looks effortless, calm, confident, unreadable. But behind that stillness is a battlefield of emotions he refuses to unleash on anyone who hasn't earned the right to see them. He's mastered the art of smiling in moments others would crumble, not because he feels nothing, but because he feels too much. He's seen how raw emotion can be weaponized, how one glimpse of sadness or frustration becomes ammunition for manipulation. So he hides it all behind composure, choosing silence over sympathy, discipline over disclosure. That's what people never understand. His smile isn't denial, it's control. It's the armor that keeps him centered in chaos. When life hits him hard, he doesn't broadcast the pain. He absorbs it, processes it, and converts it into purpose. That smile you see after betrayal, loss, or exhaustion isn't fake. It's defiance. It's the quiet message that says, "You didn't break me." It's not arrogance, it's survival. Because for the Sigma male, showing pain feels like giving away power, and he's learned the hard way that not everyone deserves to see his scars. So when you look at that subtle, unshaken grin, understand what it really means. It's not happiness. It's the final layer of protection for a man who's been through emotional wars no one ever noticed. His smile isn't there to prove strength. It's there to remind himself that even when the world misunderstood him, even when no one saw the battles he fought, he still never lost control. That's the kind of quiet resilience only a Sigma male carries, and it's why his smile will always be both his mystery and his armor. Carrying the weight alone. For the Sigma male, solitude isn't a choice. It's a necessity, born from the kind of disappointment that teaches you to stop expecting anyone to understand. He carries the weight of his world quietly, not because he wants to, but because experience has shown him that few people can handle the depth of what he carries. Behind his steady eyes lies a mind that never stops thinking about responsibilities, regrets, and unspoken emotions. He doesn't unload his burdens onto others, he refines them internally. Every challenge, every betrayal, every sleepless night becomes another test of endurance he must pass on his own. He's a man who listens when everyone else speaks, who helps others navigate their storms but returns home to face his in silence. People often mistake his independence for isolation, not realizing it's the only way he knows how to survive. The truth is, he's been let down too many times by those who promised to stay but couldn't handle his truth. So he learned to stand alone, to trust his own strength more than empty assurances. It's not pride that keeps him silent, it's self-preservation. Because once you've carried enough emotional weight by yourself, you stop believing that anyone else can lift it without dropping it. Late at night, when the world is quiet, that's when the weight feels heaviest. Yet even then, he doesn't collapse. He processes it methodically, piece by piece, thought by thought, turning pain into structure, chaos into purpose. That's his way of coping. He doesn't beg for help or seek validation. He rebuilds himself in private until the ache turns into calm. What others see as distance is really discipline, a refusal to let weakness define him. And that's the paradox of the Sigma male. He appears strong because he's alone, but he's alone because strength has become his only language. No one sees the internal labor it takes to keep his world from falling apart. They see the result, the composure, the quiet focus, the faint smile that says, "I've got it handled." But beneath that calm exterior lies a man who's had to become his own anchor in a sea that never stops testing his depth. The conflict between strength and emotion. Inside every Sigma male lies a constant civil war between the strength he's known for and the emotions he's taught himself to suppress. To the outside world, he seems unshakable, the calm in every storm, the man who never flinches when things fall apart. But beneath that still surface, there's a quiet chaos, a pulse of feelings he refuses to let take control. He's not emotionless, far from it. He feels everything, deeply, completely. But he's learned that showing those emotions often invites misunderstanding, judgment, or exploitation. So he hides them behind restraint, mastering the balance between heart and armor. This conflict defines him. He wants to be open to express what he feels, but experience has conditioned him to believe that emotions make him vulnerable, and vulnerability invites betrayal. Every time he's tried to be real with someone, the world rewarded him with silence or mockery. So now, his strength has become a mask, one he wears not to deceive but to protect. It's exhausting to live this way, to constantly translate emotion into logic before letting it see daylight, but to him, it's the only safe way to exist. There are moments, though, when the mask cracks. Late at night, when no one's watching, he allows the emotions to rise, the frustration, the longing, the pain. He feels them, but he never lets them define him, because to him, control is power. It's not that he doesn't want to feel, it's that he doesn't trust the world with his truth. So he channels his emotion into purpose, work, growth, discipline. His pain becomes progress. His heartbreak becomes clarity. His silence becomes strategy. People often mistake his emotional control for coldness, but they're wrong. His restraint isn't the absence of feeling, it's the presence of mastery. He's learned that strength doesn't mean being untouched by emotion. It means knowing when to let emotion guide him and when to let logic lead. And that's what makes him different. While others are slaves to their impulses, the Sigma male walks the fine line between feeling and focus, strong enough to care, wise enough to stay composed. His conflict isn't weakness, it's evolution, when silence becomes a language. For the Sigma male, silence isn't emptiness, it's communication at its purest form. He's not quiet because he has nothing to say. He's quiet because words often fail to capture what he truly feels. Silence is where he translates emotion into understanding, chaos into clarity. It's where he processes betrayal without bitterness and pain without pity. The world calls his silence mysterious, intimidating, or detached, but for him, it's sacred. It's his way of speaking to life, without the noise of justification or drama. He's learned that most people listen to reply, not to understand. So he stopped explaining himself. His silence is now a filter, the boundary that separates those who feel his energy from those who only demand his attention. When he retreats, it's not out of arrogance, it's out of necessity, because in the quiet, he finds truth. The kind that's often drowned by opinions and expectations. And it's in that stillness that he reconnects with his instincts, where he sees through people's motives and realigns with his own purpose. Silence is also his defense. He's seen how words can be twisted, how emotions can be weaponized. So instead of reacting, he observes. Instead of shouting back, he watches patterns unfold, until everything reveals itself. It's not passivity, it's precision. He knows that silence exposes what noise tries to hide. The people who once mocked his stillness eventually realize it's not weakness, it's control. His calmness unsettles those who rely on chaos to feel powerful. His quiet detachment is the one thing they can't manipulate. And deep down, he knows his silence speaks louder than anger ever could. It tells people when he's done, when they've crossed a line, or when his peace matters more than proving a point. It's the ultimate form of emotional maturity, saying everything without saying a word. Because for the Sigma male, silence isn't the absence of communication. It's the language of strength, discipline, and deep self-respect. In that silence, he rebuilds, recalibrates, and reemerges sharper than before, calm, grounded, and untouchable. Emotional exhaustion hidden behind composure. The Sigma male walks through life with the kind of composure that makes people believe he's immune to chaos. Calm eyes, steady voice, and an energy that rarely wavers. But what they don't see is the weight he carries beneath that still surface. Every quiet nod, every deep breath, every half smile hides a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from physical labor. It comes from constantly managing emotions in a world that never stops demanding more. He's the man who holds everything together for everyone else, while silently falling apart inside. And yet, he never complains, because in his world, composure isn't just strength, it's survival. He's learned that showing exhaustion invites pity or weakness, and that's something he refuses to accept. So he hides it well, behind logic, behind discipline, behind the illusion that nothing can touch him. But beneath that control lies a fatigue built from years of emotional self-containment. It's the kind of tiredness that comes from always analyzing, always anticipating, always understanding others before they understand him. He's not detached because he doesn't care. He's detached because caring too much has drained him dry. His exhaustion doesn't look like burnout. It looks like stillness. He doesn't lash out. He doesn't collapse. He simply withdraws, quietly, methodically, disappearing into his own world to recharge. No one notices the moments he needs to step away because he's trained everyone to believe he doesn't need rest. But he does, not just from people, but from pretending that he's fine. His silence in those moments isn't cold, it's sacred. It's his way of healing without having to explain why he's hurting. And when he finally reemerges, the world sees the same composure as before, unaware that it was rebuilt from fragments of his own weariness. That's the hidden strength of the Sigma male. He can be exhausted and still look unbreakable. He knows the difference between being tired and being defeated, and he refuses to let one turn into the other. His calmness isn't a mask. It's a shield forged from every battle he's fought within himself, the kind that leaves no scars, only wisdom. Turning pain into discipline. Pain for the Sigma male is never wasted. It's the raw material from which he builds his discipline, the quiet force that sharpens him when the world tries to break him. While others drown in heartbreak, betrayal, or disappointment, he studies it. He dissects every emotion, every failure, every scar, turning what once hurt him into the structure that now holds him together. Where others crumble under pressure, he transforms it into purpose. Because for him, pain isn't a punishment, it's information. It tells him what needs to change, what needs to end, and what must evolve. He's learned to stop asking, "Why me?" and started asking, "What now?" Every sleepless night, every silent breakdown, every betrayal became a lesson in emotional control. The more the world tried to shake him, the steadier he became. That's the paradox of his growth. The harder he's been hit, the calmer he stands. Pain taught him patience. Disappointment taught him detachment, and loneliness taught him self-sufficiency. Each wound became a blueprint for the man he was becoming, disciplined, focused, and immune to chaos. He doesn't seek revenge. He doesn't waste energy proving his worth to those who doubted him. Instead, he channels the sting of every slight into something constructive, a new habit, a stronger mindset, a sharper focus. His discipline isn't born from ambition alone. It's built from heartbreak that didn't destroy him. When others look for distractions to escape pain, he looks inward to master it. That's why his success feels inevitable, because it's fueled not by comfort, but by every uncomfortable truth he's faced head-on. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's quiet, gradual, and deeply personal. People see the results, the control, the confidence, the independence, but they never see the process. They don't see the nights he chose progress over pity, silence over reaction, or solitude over validation. To the Sigma male, discipline is redemption, a way of saying, "You couldn't break me, you built me." Pain didn't harden him, it refined him. And now, that discipline isn't just how he lives, it's how he wins. The isolation of self-reliance. For the Sigma male, self-reliance isn't just a mindset, it's a survival instinct. It's something he built out of necessity, not pride. When people failed to show up, when promises broke, when comfort became conditional, he realized that the only person he could truly depend on was himself. Over time, that truth became both his armor and his prison. He learned to fix his own problems, regulate his own emotions, and rebuild his world after every collapse, all in silence. And while that independence made him untouchable, it also made him lonely. Because when you no longer need anyone, you start to realize how few people truly deserve access to you. He's the kind of man who doesn't ask for help even when he's drowning, not because he doesn't want to, but because vulnerability has always come with a price. Every time he opened up, someone took advantage of it. Every time he leaned on someone, they used his weight against him. So he stopped. He started carrying everything alone, the fears, the doubts, the exhaustion, and turned his solitude into strength. To the outside world, he looks calm, composed, and invincible. But beneath that control is an ache few will ever understand. The quiet isolation that comes from outgrowing dependency. His independence isolates him in ways most can't see. People think he's distant or uninterested, but he's simply self-sufficient. He doesn't reach out for validation, doesn't crave constant reassurance, doesn't need a crowd to feel grounded. Yet, deep down, he sometimes misses connection, the kind that doesn't demand explanation, the kind that feels safe. But in his world, safety and solitude have become synonymous. He knows that relying on others too much risks his peace, and peace is the one thing he refuses to compromise. So he lives in a balance between strength and silence, a life where reliability becomes isolation, and solitude becomes both a wound and a weapon. But this isolation doesn't break him, it perfects him. It teaches him clarity, it teaches him control. Because for the Sigma male, the cost of peace is loneliness, and it's a price he's willing to pay. Peace found in acceptance, not escape. The Sigma male doesn't find peace by running from his demons. He finds it by sitting with them until they lose power. For him, real peace isn't a destination or a vacation from chaos. It's a choice, one that comes after he's faced every shadow inside himself without flinching. While others distract themselves with noise, he studies his silence. He lets the pain speak until it has nothing left to say. That's the difference between escape and acceptance. Escape avoids, but acceptance transforms. And the Sigma male has learned that the only way to truly heal is to stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. He no longer needs to prove he's fine. He's done pretending strength means smiling through every wound. Instead, he embraces the duality of his nature, calm yet passionate, logical yet deeply feeling, detached yet full of love. The peace he's found doesn't erase the past. It reframes it. Every betrayal, every loss, every dark night was part of the process, not punishment, but preparation. It taught him emotional discipline. It taught him that not every battle deserves his energy, and not every storm needs to be outrun. There was a time when he believed healing meant erasing pain, but now he understands it means integrating it. Acceptance became his quiet superpower, the ability to see life as it is, not as he wishes it to be, and still choose gratitude. He's stopped resisting who he's become through it all. The calm you see in his eyes isn't indifference, it's wisdom. It's the strength that comes from no longer needing control over everything. Peace, for him, isn't found in people, possessions, or distraction. It's in the simplicity of being okay with uncertainty. It's in the deep breath after letting go. It's in choosing presence over perfection. The Sigma male doesn't escape the world, he simply learns how to exist above its noise. His peace isn't fragile, it's forged. Because once you stop trying to run from what hurts, you realize it was never the pain that broke you, it was the resistance to it. And when he finally accepts that truth, he becomes untouchable, calm, grounded, and free. When a Sigma male finally reaches peace through acceptance, he stops living in resistance and starts living in truth. He no longer fights the noise, the expectations, or the weight of what others think he should be. He simply is. And that's his quiet revolution, not in noise, not in defiance, but in stillness that no one can disturb. If you've ever felt the world demand your strength while misunderstanding your silence, know this: you're not broken, you're evolving. You're learning that peace isn't about winning every battle, it's about no longer needing to fight them. If this spoke to something inside you, take a moment, breathe, reflect, and share your thoughts below. Do you find peace in acceptance? Or are you still learning to stop running from what hurts? I'd love to hear your journey in the comments. And if this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to UltraWise. Your story matters here. And together we turn pain into perspective, silence into strength, and solitude into peace.